What's up, the internet? It's Kyle, and I'm here to shill for Tony's I-75 restaurant because Dan called me out about it. Just know if you go there, they will give you all the bacon.
All of it. Just
all of it.
Everything. Just, yeah.
We once the convention in the town of Birch Run, Michigan, which is where Tony's I-75 is. And on the first day, we made money. Then we went to Tony's, which is not an expensive restaurant. Don't get me wrong, it's a diner. But I bought so much bacon at Tony's that we lost money on the whole weekend.
So they'll give you all the bacon, but they're going to charge you for it.
Well, sure, but no, that's a thing that happened. We were never allowed to go back to that convention because Kyle would eat the profits. Like, I got enough that I was just eating bacon the next day, just like left over from the night before, just all day eating bacon. It was pretty great.
Nice.
Yeah, all right. So this is In Stores This Week, where we talk about books that are in stores this week. And this week, I want to start with a book that I know nothing about. I just saw it when I was doing the prep for this show, and I thought it described Dan and I so well that we should start with it. Are you ready?
What book is that?
Rockheads. This is Rockheads #1 from Solson Publications. Never heard of them?
Mm-hmm.
But it's written by Phil Clark, art by Rich Sawyer. Wally and Joey's mother took morning sickness pills during her pregnancy. The babies were fine when they were born, but their heads turned into stone at the age of 5, leaving them both open to be laughed at and ridiculed. I don't know if it's going to be a good book. I don't know what it is. But I just saw this book and was like, Rockheads. I'm like, yeah, that describes Dan and I.
They'll make a smashing impression on you.
Yeah. And then the premiere of Rock'em Sock'em Rockheads.
Rockheads, yeah. You know there was a band called Rockhead for a while? Producer Bob Rock, who worked at a lot of large bands and stuff, he decided to put out his own album, named it Rockhead.
I don't know that band. I'm going to look it up because I know Bob Rock. But
yeah. They had one hit. I don't remember what it was.
Well, if we could find out. I have that open right now. Hold on. If you put Rockhead in Spotify, it comes up with Headbanging Rock. Here we go. It's one word. It's Breaking Up is Hard to Do, a Carole King cover. Night Swimming, an REM cover. Baby Love, a Supremes cover. Rocking in the Free World, a Neil Young cover. And Then He Kissed Me, a Crystals cover. So basically all they did was covers?
No, I had the album Rockhead. Or the album. I'm just trying to remember.
Rockheads?
Rockhead.
Rockhead Live. Here we go. This is better. No, this is not it.
Oh, let's see.
We can play this game forever here.
They had Bed of Roses, Chelsea Rose, Heartland, Love Hunter, Death Do Us Part, War Child, Sleepwalk, Hard Rain, Angel Fire, Webhead, House of Cards. Those are all the different bands or songs that they put out.
Anyhow, we've digressed pretty far from our topic here.
Hey, you brought up the band.
You brought up the band. I brought up the comic and used it to make a joke at our own expense.
Okay, fair enough.
So, let's just start at the top here with a book from Red 5 called The Box. And the reason I want to start, well, alphabetically. Yeah, it does look interesting, JR or JD, and it is definitely descriptive of both Dan and I. So The Box Written by Josh Starnes from Red 5. Josh has been a guest on the Experience many, many times, and is overall a great dude. This book is Leo Bloom is a private detective. His partner is a box. A magic box from which he can take whatever he can imagine some of the time. But when he's framed for the kidnapping of a prominent scholar, Leo suspects a plot to take his prized possession from him. Can he find out before either the police or the mafia find him? So this is a book about a magic box.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that they named the character Leo Bloom.
Because
that's one of the main characters from the producers.
Bialystok and Bloom? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Had to double check because I'm like, wait a minute.
It is interesting.
That's Gene Wilder's character.
See, and in my mind, it's Matthew Broderick. Was it Matthew Broderick?
Yeah, Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane.
Right, but which one was Bialystok and which one was Bloom?
Nathan Lane was Bialystok. Matthew Broderick was Bloom. But it's supposed to be, it's Gene Wilder and Zero Mostel. It's the original.
Sure. I mean, I own them both on DVD. You got to pick your poison here.
I go with the original. Gene Wilder is Matthew Broderick's not bad, but Gene Wilder is better.
But only one of them had Will Ferrell.
Right, so I'm going to pick the other one.
I quite liked Will Ferrell in that movie.
I honestly can't think of a Will Ferrell performance I liked.
Elf.
Nope.
You're just wrong.
He annoys me in everything he does.
You are just wrong. Anyhow, so Red 5 is a Houston-based company. They've been good supporters of ours. We've been big supporters of theirs. If you contact Jen King, there is an exclusive cover for this that's really cool that you can get. That looks like a scene out of Goodfellas. Moving on. Of course. Who's calling me? Do these people not know where I'm at this time of night? We'll move on to Blue and Gold.
Blue and Gold. Your phone ring, your ringtone is the cantina scene?
For this particular person.
So then you already know who's calling.
Yeah. Well, there's several people who have it, but this particular person should know that I'm always on the air. Like, come on.
All right, Blue and Gold, number 2 from DC Comics, Dan Jurgens and Ryan Sook. Who needs the Justice League anyway? Our heroes certainly don't. After a painful rejection from DC Universe's team of A-list heroes, Booster Gold and Blue Beetle strike out on their own. Thanks to the Cord Industries' fortune, anything is possible for this dynamic duo. Right? Little do they know, an alien assassin seeks revenge, places Blue and Gold in her crosshairs, and the Omnizon never misses. This is Dan Jurgens back writing he does such a good job with these characters, and I just love the team up of these two. Now, if you picked up The Long Halloween Part 2 on Blu-ray or whatever, however you would buy it, there's a Blue Beetle short cartoon on there as the backup story. So you get double dose of Blue Beetle this week if you're interested. But the first issue of this was really good, and I'm looking forward to number 2. You're muted. Still muted.
I was working on it. I like that Booster Gold is a thing again.
Yeah.
Like, that's in my opinion, a good reason to be reading any DC comic is Booster Gold. And it's the only reason I'm reading this one, and I'm happy for it.
Booster Gold, I really like Booster Gold, and I like it when they take him seriously. I get the funny part, but I think when he's actually done seriously, he can be a really good character.
Right. You have to take him seriously, even if he's not a serious character.
Yes.
But JD is right. Will Ferrell has the show stolen from him by both John C. Reilly and Sacha Baron Cohen in Talladega Nights, and in Step Brothers. So
I will give Farrell that he was okay in Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back as Marshall, Will, and Holly.
yes. Yes. By the way, first set photos from Clerks 3.
Saw that.
Oh, so excited. I'm going to see Jay Muse this weekend. So I'm going to talk to him about it.
Cool.
He'll probably tell me stuff that he shouldn't tell me, but that's just because Ming will make him.
Have him come on the show.
I'll see if I can get him to talk to me. We're going to see. We're going to see. There's some stuff up in the air, but I'm going to see if I can get some interviews this weekend. So, all right, next thing. This is Belle from Xenoscope. I love the big bug in the background. Just throwing that out there. I think we're going alphabetical this week, Dan, except for Barbarella.
This, of course, comes to us from Dave Franchini, who we've had on the show. And we don't know who the artist is. Again, they always add the artist late. But this is Belle, Dragon Clan, Annual #1. Annabelle Belle DeMarco has faced monsters and beasts of almost every dark hidden corner of our world. And whether it was skill or luck, she has come out standing on top. But what happens when she becomes the prey of something not of this realm? Something so ancient and powerful that she might not have the knowledge or ability to stop it. Don't miss the next thrilling chapter in Belle's life as she takes on the Dragon Clan in this oversized 32-page story. Yeah, this is a really nice cover, JD. And this is probably Igor Vitorino, if I remember correctly.
It is Igor Vitorino. Every cover from them is Igor Vitorino, isn't it? Like,
well, at least one. The first.
If you've got Igor Vitorino in your stable, and you're not using Igor Vitorino every week, you're wrong.
I believe he's currently chained in Joe Bruce's basement and just cranking out.
That's one way to do it.
Yep. So this, of course, is the Beauty and the Beast character Belle, and they just make her a monster hunter. And I think it's a great idea. This is one character that didn't show up until after I haven't done much for Xenoscope lately, and this is one character I've never gotten to play with, but I would love to write her. She's a fun character.
I would like to do, and this is me being a terrible, terrible person, I would love to tell a story of Belle having to battle something like the Weeping Bell from Pokemon. Like, and what I mean is there are stories of like plants that are also like necromancers, like, or necromancers that take plant shape, and then they control people psychologically, like with smells and stuff. Like, that would be super fun.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
You call it Belle versus Belle.
Little Belle on Belle action.
That'd sell some books.
It would.
All right. Next is the other B book. Barbarella. Barbarella.
Barbarella, yes.
That's how you take the high part there. No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Sing the Mike Love part.
This, of course, is from our friends over at Dynamite, Barbarella #2. This is the second volume. They've done a previous run of the book, but this is with Sarah Hoyt, and I love this name. Madabek Musabekov is the artist. Mystery abounds on the planet Camelot, and it's up to... Do you want to sing Camelot now? No? Okay.
No, because Camelot? I start thinking about it, and all I get's The Impossible Dream, which is and it's up to, not Camelot.
And it's up to Barbarella to unravel it all in order to save a secretly enslaved populace in what's supposed to be a literal paradise. Answers will be forthcoming, but getting there will be half the fun, at least for you, gentle reader. And those answers may just bring down paradise and lead to an even greater galactic evil. Love, lasers, and liberty. This one's got it all, courtesy of acclaimed novelist Sarah Hoyt and visionary artist Madabek Musabekov. Kind of going all over the place with that name at the end. I am a fan of Barbarella, and not because of the Jane Fonda movie. Because of the classic comics, the European or the French comic series. She's a fun character. It's sexy classic sci-fi, and Dynamite's getting it right. They're treating her right. So
I have to blame you, Dan. I now have the lyrics to the Knights of the Round Table from Spam-A-Lot stuck in my head.
You're welcome. Glad I could help you
Not
out.
the worst thing that could happen,
Yeah.
but also not my favorite song from Spam-A-Lot. Like,
It's okay. I usually get songs from 1776 and Hamilton stuck in my head.
that's fair. So this is Warhammer, Sisters of Battle. And the reason I put this on the list, normally I don't put any Marvel on the list.
Yes, I noticed.
But this is interesting to me because Marvel now has the Warhammer 40K license, which makes Warhammer 40K characters Disney princesses. That's how the transitive property of math works. I just love the fact that a game with as rich of a backstory as Warhammer 40K has come to the Marvel Universe in whatever way it has, especially Marvel Comics Universe.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see what kind of storytelling they can do. This is one of those that's bounced around and been at like every tiny little publisher that could get the rights to it for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't play the game, some of this is going to make very little sense. But survive the grim darkness of the future with the Sisters of Battle. A squad of Adepta Sororitas, led by Canoness Viridian, arrive on the planet Sisica to revive a lost interquestorial acolyte and put down a heretical uprising. Look, if you don't know what Warhammer is, none of those words made any sense.
Mitch wants to know if this is a new book this week or if it was released before this week. This should be a new book.
This is a new... Well, okay. Supposed to be a new book this week. Sometimes the list we get, because we don't have the official lists, are off a week or two. Like Stanley the Snowman, which is on the list later, has been on the list every week for a month because the publisher is just still getting it to some places. This, I believe, is a new book this week. The story has been told in the Warhammer lore, but this is Marvel telling it in comic book form.
If you are interested in learning more about Warhammer, I found out a couple years ago there are actual Warhammer stores specifically for Warhammer. I went in there one night before going to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It was near the theater we were going to. And they will teach you how to paint the miniatures.
Yep.
They'll even give you a miniature and teach you for free. We went back about a couple weeks later, painted a miniature, and I've been painting miniatures ever since.
Yep. No, I'm not a Warhammer player, but I'm a big fan of mini painting. I buy a lot of Warhammer minis for D&D. I don't play Warhammer itself. I love the storytelling in it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. The game itself is a lot of fun. I just have enough other time-sucking hobbies, and I say that in a good way.
Yeah.
Like that I would pick this one up if I didn't already D&D, or I didn't already play HeroClix, or I didn't already,
Yeah.
So, but I like the idea of this potentially means that Warhammer can exist in the same world as Spider-Man.
Yep.
So,
and Conan.
And
Conan and Warhammer would be awesome.
That's what I'm saying.
And Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can exist, and now Warhammer is part of it. So that's a lot of fun. We'll see what Marvel does with it. That's the big thing, right? Even if you don't pick this up, maybe see what happens in the trade.
Yeah.
See what Marvel does with it. It's an interesting thing. I wouldn't have expected this. If you told me Marvel was going to get the Warhammer IP, I would have gone, maybe you should take less drugs. But sure enough, here it is. All right. Next up, alphabetically, I guess, is the Trial of Magneto. This is one of the biggest books of the week.
How is this alphabetical?
Because it's actually this is listed as Magneto.
Oh, because I have it listed as X-Men: The Trial of Magneto.
I understand, but on the website where the covers come from.
This is Leah Williams.
After this is actually another X book, so ironically.
This is Leah Williams, Jonathan Hickman, and Lucas Wernock, and we recently learned that Hickman's time on X-Men is coming to an end. So he's building to his grand finale here. And it says this story will shake Krakoa to its core. A horrific murder, a shocking revelation, a trial that will divide the New Mutant nation. Leah Williams and Lucas Wernick bring you a new epic that threatens the reign of X and will upend the world of mutants. The truth is hidden. The danger is far from over, and the trial has begun. That looks like Scarlett Witch is dead there, and isn't Magneto her daddy?
That really depends on which Scarlet Witch it is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Because if we go with the Marvel Cinematic Scarlet Witch, no.
Well, true, but this is not the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
But there have been a couple of different Scarlet Witches in recent years in the comics that have had dubious and numerous different backstories.
True. Very true.
I feel like this would be a weird time to jump in on the X-Men.
I know. I'm kind of in the same boat.
But I kind of want to.
Yeah.
You know, I read House of X and Power of X, and then I stopped for a while there. And I would like to jump back in.
You know, we may just want to wait till Hickman's done. You know.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. They're gonna have to do like a Hickman collection, and it's just all the Hickman X-Men stuff, and just put it in one big book. And I could sit here, and you'll get texts from me yelling at the book.
Great.
We have to talk about this on the show. Why would they do this to me? Although you didn't really, I think you kind of no-sold. I texted you. What day did I text you? And I go, I saw Suicide Squad. It's DC Guardians. Or whatever. It's rated R Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
You know. But anyhow, next book. Speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exo, Man of War. Now, this is said to be a new jumping on point. All right. So if you didn't read the last, this is Dennis Hopeless, Amelia Liazzo. All new adventure starts here in part 1 of Upgrade the World. Harvey-nominated writer Dennis Hopeless and breathtaking artist Amelia Liazzo return to continue the epic saga of Elric of Dacia, a.k.a. Exo Man of War, and his battles as an unknown nanite monstrosity that is devouring the earth. Will our classic hero, out of time, finally evolve into the warrior of the future, or will Exo Man of War drown with their past? I got a chance to skim this book. I didn't get a chance to really sit down and read it, and I haven't read the last arc. I'm coming off of the great run they did a couple years ago.
Kent had a great run on Exo.
Matt Kent's run was absolutely wonderful. So I want to jump back in on this. The art looks good. It looks a little confusing to me. Like I said, I tried to skim it, but I want to get back into this. I love the character of Exo. I always describe it. If somebody goes, well, I don't know the Valiant characters. Who's this? Who's that? Exo is what if Conan had Iron Man's armor?
It's pretty much true.
Yeah. And that concept of lone, and when that's embraced, it is awesome. Matt Kent embraced that greatly. I want to see what Dennis Hopeless can do with this.
Well, Dennis Hopeless is such a good writer of those kind of demigod type characters. You know, his work that he did with Thor, his work that he's done in that kind of vein certainly bodes well for this book. And, you know, when you think about working with that type of character like a Conan or a Thor or whatever, like Exo, and then you're adding the modern technology into it, that's a really interesting thing. And also, if you're into Dennis Hopeless, like, and you want to think about the kind of storytelling he does, look at his work on the WWE comics. And well, no, and the reason I suggest that is that he took what he would routinely do is take a throwaway line from a promo or wrestler cut and turn it into a 3-story arc. You know, he did a story with Brock Lesnar called "Welcome to Suplex City," which was a line that Lesnar's like manager used, and now it's like Brock Lesnar as Kingpin of a place called Suplex City.
Interesting.
Like he's really good at taking the small little intricacies of a story and turning them into much bigger world kind of more whole stories. So I like the idea of him, you know, playing into the Conanity,
Mm-hmm.
the Conanness of Exo.
Yeah.
And then adding the technical level to it. So
Yeah.
All right.
I'm a big Valiant fan, so I'm looking forward to picking this one up.
All right, let's do one more and then hit the break. Sound good, Dan?
Sounds good to me.
Superman and the Authority.
Yes. Now, the Wildstorm characters are getting some pretty good love right now from DC, and this, of course, is Grant Morrison writing it. This is the #2 issue. It's Grant Morrison and Michael Janin. And it says Clark and Manchester Black continue to put Superman's new team together, even though keeping Black in check seems like just as difficult a job as convincing the new recruits to come along. The pair hits different parts of the world looking for different types of heroes, while Midnighter, Apollo, and Natasha Irons only need to tie up some loose ends before getting on board. The Enchantress is going to be a little harder. Superman is going to have to set her free from a deadly illusion hell-bent on destroying her before she can help him save the universe. And we all know just how good Superman is with magic.
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah. He could be so in over his head.
This is such a unique mix of characters. You know, you've got the Enchantress, who was in the first Suicide Squad movie. You've got Midnighter and Apollo from Wildstorm, the Authority. You've got Superman, but you've also got Manchester Black from, what was it, the Elite?
Yep.
And then Natasha Irons, who's Steel's kid. I mean, this is a really...
she is Steel now.
Okay. But I still think of John Henry.
Well, he's in it too, but he's not Steel.
Yeah. But he is Lois and Clark, or Superman and Lois.
Right. So one of the interesting things about this book is that if you look at the order in which characters appear and are relevant, Superman's last. It's Apollo and Enchantress and John Henry Irons and Kellex and Manchester Black and Midnighter and Steel. All more relevant to the forthgoing story than Supes.
Yep.
Which is an interesting place to be with this book.
So. Yep. No, I think it's an interesting title.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the Ultra Humanite on there, right?
Hmm.
That's the Ultra Humanite down there?
Yes. Yeah, I read the first issue and I was like, okay, I'll wait for the trade. But looking at where the first issue left off and looking at what this issue, the solicitation says on this, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that, Dan. I think I'm going to have to buy it every time.
I think that's a good idea.
I was hoping not to, though. Like, every bit of me was hoping to, like, pull my pull list back a little bit. It just keeps growing because they make books like this with weird characters that I can't get away from.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's do one more and then hit the break, because this is actually a good place to throw the break. Static number 2.
Yeah, this is actually number 3.
Or Static number 3, sorry.
From
Milestone Comics.
Yeah, Vita Ayala and Chris Cross, and I am absolutely loving this series, and I'm loving the whole Milestone relaunch. Just the groundedness of the storytelling and dealing with issues that other comic books don't deal with. It says the government believes in superpowered teenager bang babies. The government believes the superpowered teenage bang babies of Dakota are out of control and are too dangerous to be allowed in the streets. When his classmate starts disappearing, Virgil Hawkins wants to do the right thing and expose what's going on. But is there any way to do so without Static getting snatched up himself? Part of this run feels a little bit to me like what they were doing in the later seasons on Black Lightning on the CW series, which was a really, really good series. This is very strong writing, and just the books are great. And if you're not picking these up because you're like, well, that's a corner of the DC universe I don't need to pick up on or whatever, change your mind. Give these a shot. These are some really well-written, well-crafted comics dealing with, again, issues that other comic books don't deal with. It's from a different perspective. And part of reading is seeing into other worlds and other lives and other cultures, and that these books handle that so amazingly well. And they're just good stuff. Yeah, no. This Hardware and Icon, and it's great stuff.
Vita, you can tell, was seriously influenced by the cartoon.
Yeah.
You could tell that the people who worked in this book watched the cartoon and have fond memories of it. And so I think if you watch the cartoon and enjoyed it, that is as accurate as I can be in terms of describing it without sounding trite a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like, this feels like the next succession from the original Static to the cartoon to this. It feels like the proper next step.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back in just about 2 minutes here on The Experience with more in stores this week. Let me scroll down and click on the thing. So stick around, guys. We'll be right back.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
What's up, the internet? That's Dan. I'm Kyle. This is In Stores This Week. And Dan, I want to talk to you about a piece of news that I'm seeing break right now. It's not comic book related, but it is nerd related.
Okay, what's that?
Little Caesars has announced something called the Crazy Calzone, which is half pepperoni pizza, half calzone, all terrifying.
Okay. From my understanding of Italian cuisine, a calzone is a folded over pizza baked where you got crust on top and bottom.
What Little Caesars has done is taken a pepperoni pizza, cut it like they normally would, and then just folded it over on itself so that it looks like a cross. But in the middle, it's still a regular pepperoni pizza.
All right, I'm going to need a picture. What's it called?
The Crazy Calzone. And the first tweet is "Protect me from the fattest vampires, Little Caesar." And then the next tweet is "The power of crust compels you."
Okay, that's brilliant. And that actually looks really good.
Except Little Caesars is awful.
It is, but it has its place. You know, if you want a lot of pizza cheap, you know.
Right?
Oh my God, I may have to want to try that. I like their dipping sauce, by the way.
Yes. Crazy sauce on the side? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I am.
So, yeah, they just hold it, and that's weird. But
I look at my phone during the break, and this is the first thing coming up. I'm going,
Is this ready now? Oh, no, it starts on August 23rd. Okay.
And I'm in the heart of Little Caesar country. You know, because they like own the hockey teams and the basketball teams and the baseball teams.
I did not know that.
Little Caesar, the Illich family who owns Little Caesars, owns the Tigers, owns the Red Wings, owns the Pistons.
Wow.
The only pro team they don't own is the Lions.
That's the Ford family.
Which is the Ford family. And, oh, by the way, I think they're intermarried at this point. So, anyhow.
Pizza.
Yes. So, let's get back to comics before we sidetrack onto whether or not calzones are real food or not.
Why did you do that to me?
I'm starving, dude. Like, all I've had to eat today was a ham sandwich.
And Tuesday night, my nephew it's his job to supply dinner. So he'll order, but he always orders pizza. So I'm in here in my office, and there's pizza right out there. I can smell it.
Go get it. I'll talk about the next book while you go get pizza.
No. Go ahead. Let's go on.
All right. Well, because the next book is The Sinister War.
Yep. Sinister War, number 3. Nick Spencer. Great book. We'll move on. What's next? No.
Okay. We can go that fast. Like, I'm good with getting to dinner that early.
Nick Spencer, Ed Rice, and Carlos Gomez. And this is, I love the solicitation on this one because it's almost like they went, we don't need to actually write a solicitation because they say, you haven't read the end of Sinister War 2 yet. But when you do, you will be very mad you had to wait 2 weeks for this. Things have never been worse for Spider-Man, and it'll be a miracle if he makes it through this alive. And that only would be better if it was read in Stan Lee's voice.
Somebody call Mark Maron.
I know Mark has the look. Can he do the voice?
I'm sure he can figure it out. He's got range.
Yeah. But I love the idea that they're like, look, we're not telling you about this issue because you haven't read the previous issue because it's a 2-week book, but you're going to be pissed that this took 2 weeks to come out after that last one. That's a pretty interesting marketing idea.
Yeah, it's true.
So, Sinister War, lots of Spider-Man villains. It is the smorgasbord of Spider-Man rogues. It is
true.
It is all of them. If you want all of the Spider-Man bad guys, this is the book you are to get.
Yes. The next book, though, is a book that I really want to talk about.
Ooh.
It's Killer Queens #1 from Dark Horse Comics. It's David Boer. Written.
Do you hear the Queen song in your head?
No, not anymore.
Oh.
I did when I first talked to David Boer about this. The cover we're showing is the Jen Bartel variant. So in David's own words, it's David Boer written, art by by Claudia Balboni, with covers by Chris Abels and Jen Bartel. But in David's own words, this is a big gay space romp. When you first meet the male character there on the cover, he's making out with a pink alien guy. But this is Meet Max and Alex, reformed intergalactic assassins for hire on the run. Also super gay. Their former boss, a fluffy monkey with a jetpack, is hot on their tail to take back his stolen ship. They gotta eat, so they take a mission from Alex's old flame. Your standard no-kill, casualty-free kidnapping recovery from a nearby moon. Only complication? Half the moon is ruled by a fascist dictator hostile to foreigners. They're the killer queens, so what could possibly go wrong? Join rising star David Boer of Kanto and Alien Bounty Hunter and an all-star LGBTQ creative team as they tackle issues of love, xenophobia, and the terror of a fascist dictatorship in this hilarious sci-fi epic. Okay. The bad guy is a capuchin chimp with a jetpack.
I'm in.
It gets better. His henchmen are otters.
I might be out again.
Hench otters. Like trying to track down these assassins. Like, it's this book is just a wild ride, and David was having so much fun doing it. It's putting the sass in assassins.
That's the winner right there. That's the tagline.
Yes, right. That's what I'm saying. I've been very excited for this book since we first got the solicitation. We had David on the air to talk about it a bunch, and I'm just so excited for this book.
It looks like it's a lot of fun. And hello, Dale Guzman, Jr.
Mm-hmm. All right. So remember, otters are assholes. Moon Knight #2.
Yes. Picked up the first issue, Jed McKay and Alessandro Cappuccio.
I'm glad you had to say that, and not me.
The first book is really good. We get introduced to someone who also thinks that they think they're the other Fist of Khonshu, and they're coming to take out Moon Knight. And it says, so issue 2 is Moon Knight has established his territory, and the people within it are under the protection of his midnight mission. But what happens when those very people are turned into weapons against him? When gangs of elderly residents leave a trail of bizarre violence, Moon Knight must put his body, mind, and very soul on the line to get to the bottom of it. This book is just a trip. He's working with a therapist. He's got an assistant who is not in any way nice. He doesn't have Frenchie. He doesn't have Marlene. And he's switching back and forth between the different, characters still, or the different personalities. But he's taken over an area of the city that he's literally, it's like Daredevil takes over Hell's Kitchen, this area, but he literally has meetings with people. They come in, there are gangsters in my building, they're scaring me. I'll take care of it. And then he goes and tries to take care of it. But at one point in the first issue, he actually comes across vampires, and he takes out the main two, but he finds out the rest of them were like turned against their will, and they don't want to hurt people. So he's like, all right, I guess you fall under my protection too. It's just a very weird book, but I'm really curious where this is going to go. This has got a unique spin on it, but it's playing up the mental illness side of the character, but also the Khonshu side, and the fact that there's, like I said, another guy who thinks he's the other Fist of Khonshu and thinks that Mark Spector isn't doing his job right anymore.
You know, I don't want Moon Knight seeing a therapist. I want him unhinged. I like the idea of having Moon Knight have some opposition that could possibly rival him.
Mm-hmm.
But hinged Moon Knight just doesn't speak to me the same as crazy Moon Knight does.
Oh, no, he's still crazy.
Right, but like he's less crazy. Not a lot less crazy, just a little less crazy. Like
the therapist is interesting because she knows he's an Avenger and knows the crazy stuff he's talking about is actually real. So she has to take it from that approach that, you know, he really did come back because of Khonshu. So that's the fun part, is that the therapist, who anybody else walked in the office and said what he says, she'd be like, okay, we're going to get you some meds. And with him, she's more like, really? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, also, I love the fact that they're doing this while they're producing the Moon Knight Disney Plus series.
Yeah,
so
it's... I like the idea of getting more people into Moon Knight by any means necessary.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm good with it. But, like, there are just parts of this book that, to me, feel weird for being Moon Knight.
Okay. Ever since they brought the Mr. Knight character in and they've leaned into the Unhinged, this book, the character is just... I haven't seen a normal version of Moon Knight since... I'm thinking Werewolf by Night, was it 32? Was about the last normal. Yeah. So...
Yeah, no, it's true. All right, next book is going to be real quick to talk about. This is North Star. North Star is from Ad House Books. It has no solicitation. It's by Thomas Herpich. I picked it because I love the cover.
Yeah. That
flip through it if you see it in the store. Huh?
Is that supposed to be the intestinal system of a seahorse?
Kind of looks like it, yes.
I wonder if that's accurate.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm going to find this book and find out. Like I said, no solicitation. I have nothing to sell you on this book other than that cover is cool.
Yes.
So if you see it in your local store, pick it up, flip through it, make a decision.
And then text us or come back on next week and tell us what you think.
Yeah, then comment on this video. Like, I'll see the comments. I'm the admin on all the pages. Comment on this video and, like, tell us, like, what's the deal. Because I would be very, very, very interested.
Or Tom, if you're out there, call us.
Yeah,
come on the show.
Tom, if you're out there, if you hear about that, we're talking about your book.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to Second Chances. Second Chances is a book from Image Comics.
Yeah. See, I believe it's the only number one from Image this week. I'm going to try to get these names right. It's Rick Mamone and Max Bertolini.
Yeah.
Bertolini.
Yes.
Second Chance Hotline. Call now and get a new identity. All you need is some cash, a proper referral, and a very good reason to start over. When LeBlanc, the man behind the hotline, is approached by a shady figure from his past, he's forced to accept a new client who doesn't meet any of the requirements. A client with a chemically induced amnesia in desperate need of protection. Up-and-coming writer Ricky Mamone and artist Max Bertolini from The Witcher and Nathan Never explode onto the scene with this psychedelic, action-packed, bizarre noir that feels like John Wick punching through an existential French New Wave fever dream. Like, you guys take a moment and think about that. John Wick, existential French New Wave fever dream.
So this is one of those, what happens when you need to disappear sort of settings. And then what happens when you have the ability to help other people disappear, but you can't truly stay disappeared? It would be like what show was that? Somebody was like, I've been in witness protection 26 times. There was a movie or something where it was like, he kept having to tell people, like, he couldn't stay disappeared, but he needed to disappear.
Yeah,
Like,
don't
what do
remember
you
that.
do if that's the situation you're in? So,
Yeah.
really interesting. And it definitely has a French New Wave film kind of feel to it. All right, let's move on to, hold on. Before we do this, we have to do this.
Shazam!
Shazam! Shazam! Shazam!
Captain Marvel 204.
Yes, Shazam #2. Jim Sheridan and Clayton Henry. Hell is full of temptation and distractions as Billy Batson searches for the missing Rock of Eternity. Alongside his guide from the Teen Titans Academy, the mystical and mysterious Dane, Earth's mightiest mortal must face demons and would-be kings of the underworld. But even with the power of Shazam, Billy Batson finds himself outwitted and outmatched until Dane reveals a secret that will change his relationship with Billy and the new Teen Titans Academy forever. So first off, if you're reading Teen Titans Academy, this seems kind of important. Like it might play in the story. So you probably want to pick it up. But the idea of Billy Batson being in hell is really strange to me. And with all the temptations and stuff, this is what, a 13-year-old kid, 11-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid in an adult's body going through hell. That's really strange. And if that's Dane on the cover, is Dane an angel?
I think so.
Yeah.
Hashtag not my Shazam, but I'm good with it. Like this, I was not prepared for Shazam to be as dark as this book has been. I want Shazam to be way more bubblegum than this has been. And I get why it has been. Like, I get the whole tie into the Teen Titans Academy stuff. I get the tie-ins to some of the other stories that are going on.
Yeah.
But, like, I somehow just want Shazam to be saving kittens from trees. I don't know.
Yeah. You should. If I ever get a chance to write a Shazam book, you won't want to read it. So,
I that's fair. I mean, I read The Freeze. I know. But, and part of that is just the position in which I hold Shazam.
Yeah.
Like, I hold Shazam in pretty high esteem as it is, or as it was, not necessarily as it is now. And sometimes that colors my read on the book. I was not prepared for it to be as dark as it is. I'm not going to stop reading it. I enjoy it. But it's one of those, is you watch the movie, you read the old books, you kind of look at Shazam the way it has been, and then it's, boom, Shazam's in hell, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is Shazam doing Swamp Thing's job? Or Constantine's job? Or any of these other guys. But it'll be interesting to see where they go after this. Like, once he comes back from hell, is he, like, a little messed up? Like, has he seen some stuff? And now Shazam is like, I need therapy?
You would think.
Be interesting.
This is a lot of pressure for a young kid to try to deal with. A lot of issues. And, I mean, just the fact that you're 13 years old and hell does exist.
Right. I know hell does exist. I've been to Hell, Michigan. But no, it's hell is any place without bacon. But no, it's true.
I'm sensing
Yeah.
a trend tonight.
Dude, I'm so hungry. Anyhow, no, like I said, it's been an interesting. The first issue was really interesting and darker than I expected. This looks to continue that trend. If you're into out of place horror, I would put this in that realm. You know, it's like this doesn't feel like a place Billy Batson should be.
Fair enough.
All right, let's hit one more and then we'll take a break. Which is it's another Killer Queens cover.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'm not trying to tell people something.
That you're trying to put the sass in assassins yourself?
That I'm feeling pretty sassy. And I really want this book to do well. So, with that, let's take a break. And we will be right back after these words from our sponsors, which are, well, me. So, we'll be right back.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit ComicShopLocator.com today.
We're back, the internet.
Just saw news talking about news flash. Colin Jost has just confirmed that Scarlett Johansson is pregnant, and Kevin Feige has announced that the baby is already signed on to a 2-season Disney Plus deal.
As long as Jost's brother writes it, I'm in. For those of you who don't know, Colin Jost and his brother are writing something together for, is it for Marvel or it's for one of these? It's a superhero thing.
Okay.
But Colin Jost's brother is the head writer on Impractical Jokers.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he's the executive producer and head writer on Impractical Jokers.
All right.
So I thought you were going to say breaking news. My nephew didn't order pizza.
Oh, no, it's on the counter waiting for me. Smell it. I opened the door and looked, and sure enough, there was those boxes.
I think I'm going to make bacon. I think I'm going to make steak and eggs when we're done. I'm on a really weird, ridiculously high protein diet. I'm like eating more protein than The Rock.
Well, yeah, because you're trying to heal.
I understand, but I'm like, I'm so tired of eggs. So tired of eggs.
I don't even like eggs, but I understand the need of them right now with what you've got going on.
It's true.
You should be on as much protein as you can get.
Mm-hmm. So let's head over to some books, and we'll start with this guy. Hey, look, it's Rama Tut, the Conqueror.
Immortus himself.
Right.
All right. This is Kang the Conqueror #1. Jackson Lansing, Colin Kelly, Carlos Magno, and Espen Grundetjern. This is the origin of Kang. So if you just watched Loki and you saw He Who Remains popping up at the end, and then the statue, and everybody's going, "Oh my God, it's Kang," and you're like, "Who the hell's Kang?" This is the book for you. The origin of Kang, the man called Kang the Conqueror, has been a pharaoh, a villain, a warlord of the spaceways, and even on rare occasions a hero. Across all timelines, one fact seems absolute: time means nothing to Kang the Conqueror. But the truth is more complex. Kang is caught in an endless cycle of creation and destruction, dedicated by time and previously unseen by any but the Conqueror himself. A cycle that could finally explain the enigma that is Kang, and a cycle that begins and ends with an old and broken Kang sending his younger self down a dark path. This is the guy. This is going to be the big bad for at least phase 4. You know, we've dealt with him in Loki. I don't know if he'll pop up in the Doctor Strange. He'll probably be a background character. He'll do the Thanos thing, maybe just show up a little bit. But then he's going to be the Ant-Man and the Wasp character. And I think he'll end up in the Fantastic Four movie, too. I think that's what phase 4 is going to be about, is all about Kang and his variants of Immortus and Scarlet Centurion, and even Iron Lad could end up in this mix. So,
telling you, Rama Tut.
Rama Tut, there's another one, yep. And of course, he is the descendant of Nathaniel Richards, or Nathaniel Richards, the descendant of Mr. Well, they always say it's the descendant of Reed Richards' father, which makes it kind of weird because isn't he descendant of Reed too then? Or is just a difference?
No.
Nathaniel's
Reed Richards' father had a baby with another mother. He'd be Reed Richards' brother from another mother, which would make him only the descendant of Reed Richards' father, not the descendant of Reed Richards. Well, except for first Reed Richards. God, I hate the time stream.
Yeah. When Kang hangs in the 80s, does he drink Tang? Why do we let Joel in the show?
I don't know. I was just thinking about Blues Traveler lyrics.
Which one?
I'm an old and broken me, too many rides upon the wind. It's from one of the later records where John Popper was realizing that he was old. But I just keep thinking, I'm an old and broken Kang, too many rides upon the time stream.
There's a reason Marvel's putting this book out, to get people's attention for this character. You know, they've got a lot planned with them, and this would be a good time to catch up.
Right, and they made a not small investment in the future of Kang, you know, with putting Jonathan Majors in so many pictures. So if you're not paying attention to Kang now, you're going to be hard up to try and get caught back up.
Get on board now, the Kang gang.
It's just the sound of the men working on the Kang gang. All right, this is the Heroes Union, which is another one of these books that I kind of grabbed just because of the title and because of the cover. But this is from Binge Books, written by Roger Stern, Ron Friend's art.
Oh, wow.
By Sal Buscema.
We got some classic Marvel creators right there.
Yeah. Like, I picked it because of this. But, like, then I saw who was on it, and I'm like, oh, man. Oh, okay. So this is Naucrate, the auteur cosmic. Half the universe celebrates her genius, the other half cowers before her world-shattering power. And the only ones who can stop her are Earth's foremost supergroup, the Heroes Union. Legendary creators Roger Stern of the Avengers, Ron Frenz of Thor, and Sal Buscema of literally everything unite to chronicle the adventures of the marvelous new generation of heroes in a cosmic epic bursting with so many breathtaking twists and thrills, it should probably come with seatbelts. This 68-page standalone story introduces a new 21st century heroes in an exciting new square-bound binge book format. This is 68 pages for $4.99
That's a
from
hell of a deal.
Legends. Cover art by okay. Hold on. Written by Roger Stern, pencils and one cover by Ron Frenz, inks by Sal Buscema. Other inker is Chris Nye. Another cover from Brett Breeding.
Wow. I haven't seen anything from Brett in a long time.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, did his friends call him and go, "Hey man, we're doing this thing. You want to have some fun?" Like, this book has me very excited, and I have no earthly right to be. But
You know what it reminds me of a little bit? When I saw this cover in the list, it reminded me, and I cannot think of the name of it, but there was a superhero MMORPG that was like Hero City or something.
I don't know.
That was out for a while, and I was playing it, and you basically got to become a hero. It was before DC made their own version, and it was around a long time, but I cannot think. I want to say it was Hero City or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
But it reminds me of that. Oh, now I want to look up the name of the game.
All right. Well, you do that. I'm going to click on the next book here, which is that isn't what I wanted the next book to be. This is what I wanted the next book to be. God of Tremors from Aftershock Comics.
City of Heroes. I was close. City of Heroes.
Yes. So God of Tremors is, just so you know, if you buy it, it's oversized. It's like Euro-sized. Huh?
Yeah, it's kind of wide.
Yeah, it's a Euro-sized book. You're going to need a magazine-sized bag and board. It's written by Peter Milligan. Pencils by Peter Kowalski. 19th century Gothic horror. A 19th century Gothic horror of exorcism, demonic worship, and epilepsy. When Aubrey has his first seizure, he's pulled out of school and hidden away in the family's remote country estate. His father, a high-ranking English priest, tries to chase the devil out of Aubrey. But maybe the devil lurks in the grotesque pagan effigy that dwells on the grounds, and maybe the devil will turn out to be Aubrey's only ally. A singular tale of nightmarish terror and creeping enlightenment told against the backdrop of ignorance and brutality. God of Tremors springs from the fertile imagination of award-winning writer Peter Milligan, who wrote Out of Body, Shade the Changing Man, and X-Force, with illustrations from Peter Kowalski, who did Join the Future and Sex.
These two have teamed up once before on a short-lived comic over at Dynamite called Terminal Hero.
Yep.
That was absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, I'm in on this one.
The reason for the size of this book, and the reason this book is the way it is it wasn't exactly miniseries long. They told the story in like an issue and a half. And there wasn't really more story to tell. So they kind of widened the book out, made it a little bit bigger, made it a little bit thicker, oversized it a little bit to get it into a one shot that's closer to a trade value than a single issue. It's about being misunderstood. This kid is sick, but at the time they don't understand that. They think he's a witch. They think he's possessed, and his dad tries to fix him, and there's no fixing it. It is what it is. So this is a story about finding allies in the most unlikely of places.
My big takeaway from this is from now, whenever I need this, it's, I'm not fat, I'm European sized.
Dan, I think you're more than European sized, man. You're a giant in pretty much any culture, so that would make you Norse. You could be considered
probably.
Norse sized.
I could be the god of tremors.
I am European sized. Once you cross over that 6'4" threshold, you become Norse. But here, we'll come back to God of Tremors in just a second, because I just realized that I have something that would be relevant. Why don't you talk about this, which is the Grimm Universe Quarterly, Zodiac versus the Death Force.
I don't think I have the solicitation for this one.
Oh, well, then I will talk about this one, and you could talk about something else.
Okay.
Two of the Grimm Universe's most dangerous anti-heroes face each other for the first time ever in a life or death battle, neither knowing they're just pawns in a bigger game. But who is the puppet master pulling the strings from behind the scenes? Written by Joe Bruscia, cover art by Mike Crome and Igor Vitorino. This is a Zodiac versus Death Force from Xenoscope Comics.
Yep. This is their two badass villains that they haven't killed yet. But they have some really cool villains. I gotta admit, we did a Halloween special that basically went through all of their villains in one shot. But these two weren't around yet. But these two are pretty cool villains, and I'm looking forward to seeing a villain Xenoscope do a villain-centric comic and to see what it's about.
Yeah. So the next book I have on the list, and I don't think you put it on your list, but I thought, I wonder if Dan notices that this is out here. Let me look. No, you didn't put it on your list. This is Michael Moorcock's Elric, the Dreaming City.
We talked about this last week.
We did, but interesting thing has happened.
Yes. I saw that was on the list, and I was kind of surprised.
It has been announced that they are going to republish much of Michael Moorcock's work in this form from this kind of team, with Mike Mignola overseeing most of it.
Nice. So we're going to get more Morcock.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Elric, it's great. So now this is going to be new art with his original writing.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So that's why I brought it back up. I thought it was relevant that it's going to continue. So.
Be cool, though, if it was Mignola doing all the art. I mean, nothing against the creative team, but Mignola doing all the art would be amazing.
Right. I think they're going to let him shepherd it through and make sure it comes out properly, which is super fun.
Yep.
All right. Eat the Rich.
Yes.
Why don't you read people the solicitation, and I will be right back with something to talk about in just a second.
All right. This comes to us from Boom Studios. It's Sarah Gailey and Pius Bach. And it says, what unspeakable horrors eat at the heart of the Crestfall Bluffs. With law school and her whole life ahead of her, Joey plans to summer with her boyfriend Astor in his seemingly perfect hometown of Crestfall Bluffs. It's a chance to finally meet Astor's family and childhood friends, all while enjoying a vacation with every need attended to by servants. But beneath the affluent perfection lies a dark, deadly rot. Will Joey discover the truth before it's too late? And if she does, can she survive to tell the tale? The bold, horrifying psychological thriller from Hugo Award-winning author Sarah Gailey, The Echo Wife, Magic for Liars, and with artist Pius Bach from Firefly and the Magicians, says this is perfect for fans of Stillwater and Nailbiter. This looks like just a creepy as hell kind of series. The fact that her boyfriend's name is Aster should have been the first red flag right there. But Crestfall Bluffs, this reminds me of just like that little hidden town of perfection that lives like on top of a demon center or whatever. You know, it's just going to be something real super creepy. So you're back. You're muted.
I'm very excited for Eat the Rich.
Why for art thou excited for Eat the Rich?
I think it's going to continue that Boom Studio streak of books that really feel like they're going one direction, and then turn everything on your head.
Yeah,
And make you feel feels about things and issues and cultural things that you weren't prepared to feel feels about. Kind of like Something is Killing the Children.
yeah.
And Department of Truth, where it's like, oh, I didn't expect to feel this way about this thing, but here I am.
I like the cover. It's gonna stand out. Is the key. The only thing I think they could do to make it even better is if the red was actually embossed.
Yep.
Or foil embossed to make it really pop.
So, yeah, absolutely. So I went and grabbed something out of the short boxes in my room.
Bacon?
To show everybody. Huh?
Bacon?
No.
Oh.
I didn't mean to make myself full screen. I wanted to do this screen here.
You already have a copy.
This is the Aftershock Ambassador exclusive variant.
Very nice.
I can't really show you the insides, but the art is really cool. It's a really good book, and just to kind of give you an indication, as to the size of this book, Powerade for scale.
Wouldn't another comic for scale been more sense?
Yeah, but I didn't have another comic like that was easily grabbable.
Okay. That is a big book.
Yes, it's wider than my face.
It's magazine size.
Yeah, it's actually not quite magazine sized. I think it's a little shorter than traditional magazine size. Let me see if there's a splash or something I can show you without giving anything away. I really should have cleared this with Joe. But here, I'll show you that.
Yeah. Peter Kowalski does some really nice work art-wise. And like I said, if you had a chance to pick up Terminal Hero, you can tell this guy knows his stuff art-wise, and this is going to be a good-looking book.
All right. So, Dan.
Yes.
Did we cover every book on your list?
I'll have to check my list. Moon Knight, X-Men came. No, Miles Morales, Spider-Man Annual #1.
Aha. I knew I was forgetting something.
Truth and Justice #7.
Okay.
That's the rest of my list.
Right. I knew we had a couple more to do. And in fact, there's one off of my list that we haven't done yet.
Okay.
So let me do this. But while I'm doing that, why don't you tell everybody about what's coming up this week on the Dan Wickline show that you can talk about, and key up this week's Pop Goes the Writers. I think people are going to want to tune in for. So tell everybody what to do.
The one we just recorded?
Yes, the one with Jim.
Yes. Yeah, well, we just had a great Pop Go the Writers on Sunday, and it will be rebroadcasted this Saturday here on The Experience with myself, Paul Story, who's my regular co-host, and Jim Beard. And this was our chance to talk about the new Marvel What If series. And I got to tell you, this was probably one of the craziest episodes we've done. It started off with this whole segment of name dropping, and it just went off the rails, but it was a lot of fun. There was some bad cheese puns to the point where our viewers started making them too. But we also did a very in-depth look at Marvel's new series and how it's going to play into the MCU, how important it is. As much as people are like, oh, it's just an animated series. No, you should be paying attention to this. They're going to do some great stories, and it's going to have some bite into the MCU. It's going to be important. And it's not just me saying bite because there's going to be a zombie episode. Now, on Thursday, the next episode of What If debuts tonight, tomorrow morning, depending on where you are. And Thursday, I will do the spoilery conversation about it. To break it down, this will be the T'Challa episode. And people, this is one of Chadwick Boseman's last performances. He did 4 episodes of What If right near the end. So we've lost him way too young. There's very little to celebrate in the sense of material. There was so much more he could have done, but we need to cherish what we have. And he voiced these 4 episodes. So we get the first one tonight. So you definitely want to tune in and watch that. Tomorrow's Dan Wickline show, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm thinking of doing a breakdown on Shang-Chi, just the character, the history, some of the things, or I may just focus on the news. I'm still playing that one out. So tomorrow is going to be a kind of a grab bag episode, or I may just have Kyle come on and we'll just BS for an hour and talk about how Shazam should be versus to how dark you could get Shazam. That would be a fun episode, I think.
Shazam!
Yep. So Kyle's going to need to be ready because he might be on the air tomorrow during the Dan Wickline show.
Kyle will let you know because he may be having a minor medical procedure at that time.
Right. Okay.
Skilled nursing comes tomorrow afternoon to do a thing. That's all I can say.
Hoover.
I may be able to do both.
Yeah.
Because I'm skilled like that.
We could just broadcast your procedure during
I
the
am
show.
not Tom Green.
Just saying. Hey, look, there's a Miles Morales Spider-Man annual that also ties into the Infinite Fury. The Infinite Fury storyline. So if you're following that, you're definitely going to want to get this. This is it's another Jed McKay story. We've done a couple from him. It's also Saladin Ahmed.
Saladin Ahmed.
Saladin Ahmed. I apologize. And it's called Fight at the Museum. Miles Morales is investigating a series of monster attacks in Brooklyn when he runs into Miss Marvel. No, not Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel's friend and ally, Amulet. Together, they connect the monster to a series of cursed magical objects. But who activated them and why? And can Spider-Man and Amulet find out before the monsters take them down too? Also in this issue, part 6 of the 8-part Infinite Fury storyline. Are we really at a point where we're naming characters just objects? Amulet?
DC has been doing it for years.
I know, but at least they do Blue Beetle.
No. Amethyst.
Okay.
If you name them after a rock, I think it doesn't count.
But it's a precious stone, a precious gem.
So
but
is this.
Amulet, it's just an amulet.
Yeah, but who knows what's in the amulet? Like, now you're assuming what the jeweler is thinking. Like, you know what? This is a Mark Jeweler issue, so we'll see what happens. No, I'm kidding.
I think I would spend the entire episode having Miles Morales call them the wrong name. Hey, Necklace, come over here. Yo, Joker, what's up?
It's true.
Yo, Cameo, hey, come here.
It's true though. Like I'm becoming less and less interested in the Infinite Fury story arc
Okay.
the longer it continues.
So you're saying something called Infinite is going on for too long?
I absolutely and I recognize the
pun, yeah.
well, no, I recognize several things, but yes, I recognize the problem that is. So, we'll move on from that one, and we'll go to okay. So this is a book that feels like it should come out from a publisher we all know and work with regular, but it doesn't. It was kickstarted, and now it's coming out on its own, and I think it's worth mentioning. This is Vampirella, Pray for the Sinner, #1.
This is Marat Michaels, right?
Yes.
So this was Marat's own thing, yeah.
Right. Written by Chad Bowers and Merritt Michaels, with art by Merritt Michaels and
Marat.
Really?
Yeah.
Marat?
Yeah, we're buddies. He's actually a friend of mine.
I believe you, but someone who he collaborates with a lot needs to maybe be corrected on how to say his last name, or how to say his first name. One of his colorists mispronounces it every time I talk to him. But then there's also art by Sahad Sa and Jamie Mendoza and a few others. This is the crossover no one saw coming is here. The baddest of the bad girls, Vampirella and Sin from the indie hit Pray for the Sinner. On her, let me read that again. The baddest of the bad girls, Vampirella and Sin from the indie hit Pray for the Sinner. On her intergalactic quest for vengeance, Sin follows slimy criminal known as Ziz to the homeworld of the one and only Vampirella, the planet known as Draculod. It doesn't take long for the ladies to run into each other and realize they must work together to stop the doomsday virus Ziz is carrying from being unleashed.
It sounds like the villain is actually like named by Ruby Rod from The Fifth Element. Zzz!
It's spelled Z-Y-Z-Z. Zzz.
Marat's a good guy. He does these, he kickstarts a lot of books. He's got quite the following. So, you normally don't see them released to stores. So it's pretty interesting to see this one. And, every once in a while, Dynamite allows Vampirella to team up outside of their continuity.
Mm-hmm. And I'm good friends with one of Merritt's regular co-collaborators on a lot of the Do You Poo stuff that he does.
Right. He does that. He does the Naughty and Nice, and
yep. So I just thought this was interesting. I like the concept of Pray for the Sinner. I've only read the first issue. So it's an interesting look. So we have one book left, and I think Dan and I will sign off early for the night so he can get to his pizza. And I can
have bacon
and eggs. All right. And that is Truth and Justice, Chapter 19.
I'm kind of confused.
Ironically, because it's number 7.
Yeah, that threw me off a little bit. But these are some. I'm going to learn to speak now. There's a very short solicitation. Zatanna finds herself trapped in a dream world. How did she get there, and how can she possibly get out without her magical powers? This is from Prati Chibber, and there's 2 H's in the solicitation of her name, Chhibber. I
think it's
and Lalit Chibber,
yeah,
and Lalit Sharma.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't know a lot about this. Truth and Justice has been a really cool series. This is a digital first series, so maybe it's chapter 19 of the digital first, but you don't normally see that on the cover. But you got a dog in a spacesuit there, and you got Zatanna. So what more do you need to buy this book? I mean,
right. I mean, and if you look at the B cover, it's by Jung Wen Yoon. It really does have it's a really great Zatanna representation.
yeah,
And it has kind of that art germ feel to it.
nice. So if you're looking for some Zatanna stories, there you go. And like I said, Truth and Justice has been a really fun series so far. So that's why I wanted to mention it. But they don't give you much in the solicitation on this one.
True. Something else to be looking for when you go into stores this week is Marvel has re-released Volume 1 of What If as a hardcover and trade paperback collection.
Nice.
So if you're watching What If going, I don't get it, maybe pick that up. They're not going to be great. They're not going to be identical representations. And I know that some of the stories they're telling aren't even from Volume 1 of What If. But it'll get you kind of an idea of the way these stories have been told traditionally in the Marvel universe.
The O. Henry twist and stuff like that,
Yes. I've not heard it described that way in a long time. And I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm old. It's like Twilight.
It's the most appropriate. Yeah, it's the most appropriate way to kind of describe the deal, Yep. So. All right. Well, tune in tomorrow for the Dan Wickline Show, and Thursday for the Dan Wickline Show, and Saturday at 6:30. Well, I don't know how long was Pop Go the Writers.
90 minutes.
6:30 for Pop Go the Writers, Eastern Time. And you'll see more Dan.
Yep.
You won't see any more of me unless I'm on some of the Post-it note flashbacks that'll be here this week. But we will be back next week at this time with more books that are in stores next week.
Yep.
See you later, everybody.
Good night.